Deep underground, where sunlight was a forgotten dream, the haven pulsated like a vast metallic heart. Generators hummed tirelessly, their vibrations coursing through steel walls stained with decades of oil and rust. Pipes overhead hissed and rattled, struggling to transport recycled air and water to a population clinging to survival. Dr. Elena Carter walked quickly down the main corridor, her tablet clutched to her chest. Her white lab coat stood out like a beacon in the dim, grimy light, but her focus was elsewhere. Notifications on the tablet buzzed insistently, but she ignored them, her mind preoccupied with the morning's grim results. Elena was a driven and determined scientist, her sharp mind and relentless work ethic making her one of the Haven's most respected figures. Yet behind her steely exterior lay a woman burdened by the weight of her responsibilities and haunted by memories of the surface world. She often wore her exhaustion like armor, her green eyes always scanning, analyzing, calculating the next move to ensure the survival of their dwindling society. To her left, a line of civilians stretched towards the rations counter, their faces hollow and desperate. Children sat at their parents' feet, listless, their hunger palpable. A young boy clung to his mother's leg, his wide eyes fixed on Eleanor as she passed. She met his gaze for a heartbeat, then looked away, her expression tightening. It wasn't cruelty, it was necessity. You couldn't save everyone. The intercom crackled overhead, delivering its daily dose of monotony in a detached, static-laced voice. Intercom VO. Attention Sector 3 residents, water rations will be distributed at noon. Please adhere to your assigned collection times. Elena turned into the genetics wing, passing through the sterilization checkpoint. The heavy doors hissed shut behind her, and the stale air gave way to something cleaner, cooler, almost medicinal. Inside, Jill, her junior technician, was hunched over a console, her red hair frizzing from stress and hours spent under the harsh laboratory lights. She didn't look up as Elena entered, her fingers fluttering nervously over the glowing interface. Jill was a bundle of nerves, her youthful enthusiasm tempered by the harsh realities of their world. She was smart and capable, but the pressure often made her doubt herself. Despite her insecurities, Jill was fiercely loyal to Eleanor, seeing her as a mentor and a beacon of hope in their dark existence. Jill. Morning, Dr. Carter. Elena. Jill, give me the latest. Jill hesitated, glancing toward the screen as though it might soften the blow. She tapped a key and a graph materialized, a jagged red line plunging steeply. Jill, the drone we sent to the industrial zone didn't make it back. Radiation levels were higher than expected, off the charts, really. We lost it in less than 5 minutes. The shielding couldn't handle it. Elena frowned, leaning over the console. Elena, and the specimens from the last retrieval. Did anything hold up? Jill sighed, swiping to another screen. A video feed showed rows of biocontainment tanks, each filled with distorted, dying plants. Leaves blackened and withered before their eyes, while some samples developed grotesque mutations, swollen stems, oozing pustules, twisted roots. Jill, none of them lasted more than a day. The mutations are more aggressive than anything we've seen before. I don't think anything on the surface is viable anymore. Elena straightened, her jaw tightening. Elena, that's not an option. Keep running simulations. Focus on cross-stabilization with older samples. Jill blinked at her, incredulous. Jill, Doctor! Elena, just do it. I know it's a long shot, but it's all we've got. Jill nodded reluctantly, her shoulders slumping. Jill, yes, Doctor. Marcus entered. His outward charm belied a deeply pragmatic mind. He was resourceful and resilient, often finding unorthodox solutions to their myriad problems. He had a knack for diffusing tense situations with humor, though his light-hearted exterior often masked a deep well of worry about their future. Marcus, don't you have your own projects to sabotage? Elena, I don't have the luxury of stopping. Marcus, and how's that going for you? Looks like your plant's auditioning for a horror movie. Elena, if this is your idea of encouragement, you're terrible at it, Marcus. I'm just saying maybe you should step back before you end up with something that eats us instead of feeding us, Eleanor. Noted. Why are you here, Marcus? Marcus. Word around the lab is the council's shutting down surface missions. If that's true, Elena. It's true, Radcliffe's scared. Torres doesn't have the votes. They're content to sit down here and rot. Marcus, and you're not, Elena. No, I'm not. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of the tanks filled the silence, tension crackling between them. Finally, Marcus sighed. Marcus, if you're planning something reckless, at least let me help. Eleanor, I don't need help. Marcus, yeah, you do. The council chamber was cold and utilitarian, its walls bare except for a faded map of the surface. The table at the center was circular, etched with faint lines marking old city boundaries, now buried beneath layers of radiation and rubble. "Councillor Radcliffe, this is madness! Sending more people to the surface is a death sentence!" Radcliffe was a large man with a booming voice, his presence as commanding as his arguments were fear-driven. His cautious nature stemmed from a genuine desire to protect their community, but it often made him resistant to any form of change or risk. He saw the surface as a graveyard, a place best left undisturbed, and his fear for the safety of the Haven's residents often made him seem obstructive. Councillor Maria Torres, and doing nothing is a death sentence for all of us. Maria Torres was the antithesis of Radcliffe in many ways, bold, visionary, and unafraid to take risks. Her dark eyes burned with determination, her speeches infused with a fervour that inspired those around her. She was driven by a fierce hope for a future beyond the confines of the Haven, believing that survival without progress was merely a slower death. Eleanor stood at the edge of the room, waiting for the perfect moment to speak. When the noise subsided, she stepped forward. Eleanor, "Honourable councillors, our situation is dire, our crops are failing. Our resources are dwindling, without action we won't survive another year." Councillor Radcliffe, "And your solution is to send more people to their deaths?" Eleanor, "My solution is to send a small prepared team to retrieve the genetic material we need. The risk is calculated. The alternative is certain extinction." Torres, "And you're volunteering for this mission?" Elena, "Yes." The room fell silent. In the staging area, Elena adjusted the straps on her radiation suit, the heavy material pressing uncomfortably against her shoulders. Around her, the team moved with quiet efficiency, checking gear and triple-checking oxygen tanks. Marcus approached, carrying her tank. He set it down with a thud, then began securing it to her suit. "Marcus, you're really going through with this, Eleanor. You didn't think I'd back out, did you?" Marcus, "No, but I was hoping you might surprise me for once." Eleanor, "Sorry to disappoint." He met her eyes, his expression softening. "Marcus, just stay close to me up there, okay? No heroics." Eleanor, "Heroics aren't my style." The elevator doors hissed open, revealing the ancient, rusted lift that would carry them to the surface. As they stepped inside, Marcus broke the silence. "Marcus, Elena, you're not alone. You don't have to be." She hesitated, the words catching her off guard. But before she could respond, the doors slid shut, sealing them into the unknown. End of chapter 1.